La, la. Excuse me, that wasn't good. La 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 da da. So, how's it going, everyone? It is Monday, December 22nd, 2025, on this Monday night. Let's see what time it is. I've got a lot of different clocks around here. 10:28 p.m. on this chilly night. And I just wanted to pop on for a little late night. I know a few weeks ago I did a little segment of um I did a little segment of movies that you should check out for the holidays, and a couple of people said, "Why do you choose movies that we've never heard of?" And the reason being is this: because I could choose so many movies that you all have heard of. Movies such as Son-in-Law with Pauly Shore. I could also choose movies like The Big Lebowski, and this Big Lebowski is like the excuse me, collector's edition. I do not think this particular DVD has. Excuse me. Uh, I don't think this DVD's ever been played. To be honest with you, this one I could choose a one of the best action movies of all time, a slam bang action thriller, The Rock, with Nicolas Cage, Sean Connery, and Ed Harris. But I would rather spend my time telling you all about movies that you've never seen before, because I don't know what's going on here. Let me get a drink there. Um, because the reason telling you about movies that you may not have heard about is because you all have heard of these other ones. There's zero reason I wasn't congested like this until I started going live. But there's zero reason for me to tell you about movies you already know about. So I kind of want to highlight a few films that you may never heard of, and you may heard of, maybe you haven't. Now, the first one tonight is one called Bad Lieutenant. Now, this is an NC-17 movie, and this is about pretty much what the title says, a bad lieutenant. Harvey Keitel is a one man, wrecking ball. Basically, he's a cop in an unnamed city, and he pretty much he does drugs, he commits crimes, he plants evidence, he racks up a huge gambling debt, and he is one of the investigators who is the detective assigned to a very bad act against a nun. And you kind of get the idea that through this, he kind of has a little bit of a change, a metamorphosis. But I can't say that's exactly how it plays out. So you'd have to check it out. I think it's free on a lot of the streaming sites. I've probably watched Bad Lieutenant, I'd say at least 8 to 10 times. Now, I got this at a place called Mr. K's Used Bookstore in CDs and DVDs. I think it was in Johnson City for $8. It was a couple years ago. Another movie that you've probably never heard of, and it's got a great actor and a great premise, is Fearless by, not by, but Jeff Bridges is in the movie, by Peter Weir. And this movie is also about a metamorphosis, about a character that survives a brutal, brutal plane crash. And he somewhat feels that, he's invincible in a way. And it kind of chronicles his journey from the plane crash to, you know, he becomes distant with his wife. He he kind of forms a bond with another um, plane crash survivor. And this movie actually has one of the most realistic, you know, uh, plane crashes on film. So I don't want to give it away. This is a Warner Brothers release, and one of the ways you can tell is that I think I mentioned this last time. There's always like a paper case. Warner Brothers never was great about putting out great, good plastic cases. Another under the radar gem is by Bill Murray, Broken Flowers, a film by Jim Jarmusch or Jarmusch, depending on who you are. This is the movie that I saw at E Street Theater in the in Washington D.C. And this was, I think, excuse me, it's kind of gross. I think I went to see The Aristocrats, which was about like this dirty joke that all these comedians tell, and it was pretty bad. It wasn't good. So we left that movie and went into Broken Flowers. Now, Broken Flowers is kind of a little bit of a drama. Now, Bill Murray plays, I think he plays an aging Don Juan who hits the road on a revealing and humorous cross country journey. Now, he's pretty much going from, he finds out that he has a son, and he's trying to go around to his past and find out which one of the women that he had bed along the way is the mother of the son. Broken Flowers. Another movie that you all have probably never heard of. I went to the let's see, I went to Maryland to watch this. This is a movie by Sofia Coppola, and this was the winner of the Best Picture of the Golden Lion at the Venice International Film Festival in 2010. Stephen Dorff, Elle Fanning, somewhere. And this is a hard movie for a lot of people to get through. There's minimal dialogue, and it pretty much chronicles, this actor Stephen Dorff plays. He plays Johnny Marco, this kind of a famous actor, and it kind of shows you the opposite side of fame. He lives in the let's see, what hotel does he live in? Famous hotel, Chateau Marmont Hotel in California. And it kind of chronicles just his day to day life as an actor, and then he has one of his a daughter dropped off, and it kind of it's kind of a little bit of a redemption story in a way, a small redemption story, I guess. Looking at the coloring is a little bit different on the monitor to the right as opposed to right ahead. Moving on right along, this is the David Lynch film. The next one, it's Bill Pullman's 72nd birthday today, which blows my mind. But has Bill Pullman, Patricia Arquette, and it's a David Lynch film called Lost Highway. This also has, let's see, what was his name? Robert Blake. And if you look up Robert Blake, he apparently murdered his wife, Bonnie Lee Bakley, I think back in the 90s, not long after this movie. And this was his last, he played Beretta, Robert Blake did. And this is one of the last theatrical movies he was in. Very briefly, but he does make a very memorable appearance. And this is a DVD that my sister got me a couple years ago for Christmas. Thank you, Jessica. She got me Lost Highway, Mulholland Drive, and it seems like she got me another one. But this is one to check out if you haven't. I don't think it's streaming anywhere for free. I think you have to rent or buy it. Luckily, I have the DVD Lost Highway. And one of the last movies I want to talk about tonight, just briefly, is a movie called Red Rocket. It's a Sean Baker film. It's got Simon Rex, and if you remember Simon Rex, he was kind of a MTV VJ in the '90s, and then he was in the Scary Movie, probably 2, 3, 4, maybe some of the later ones. And this is kind of a movie about redemption as well. Simon Rex plays Mikey Saber. He's an ex porn star who's come back to Texas, and he's trying to start up these little side hustles and such, trying to get his life back on track. And this was a movie that came out, I think the pandemic was still going on. And it pretty much revigorated Simon Rex's career. He's in a lot of independent films now, kind of a serious works, a lot of them. And it's a cool one to check out. Another one that I want to suggest, this is like a silly, um, early 2000s, probably mid 2000s, 2007, I think, comedy called Danny Roan, First Time Director, and it stars Andy Dick. Hitting rock bottom has never been so funny. And this is not really a laugh out loud movie per se, but it kind of leads you to, kind of in the mind of Andy Dick. And if this movie was played a little bit less silly and it didn't go for some of the gross out antics, I think this would be, one to really, really dive into. But it's a politically incorrect balls out comedy, is what it says. And I've watched this several times, not necessarily because it's quote good, um, but I have a history with Andy Dick. He was in my movie Virginia Running, and he's hit the news lately with going to rehab, and so I thought I would kind of like bring that to your all's attention. So just going getting on a quick note tonight. Nothing special, nothing great. A few books that I would suggest. You've got Ed Burns, The Kid from Marlborough Road. I've not read it yet, but he did sign it for me. Good luck with the film life, Ed Burns. So that's kind of cool that he did that. I went down. He was doing a book reading and signing and talking and such down in I think it was it Raleigh? Yeah, I think it was Raleigh back last October, and I went down. Haven't read it yet. Another one by Edward Burns. Ed Burns, Independent Ed, Inside a Career of Big Dreams, Little Movies, and the 12 Best Days of My Life. That's one I've read this time and time again. And it's got several parts that, sometimes for inspiration, I go back and I read it. And I'm like, even Ed Burns has dealt with a lot of the things, getting money to make a movie, productions falling through, and things like that. So it's a good read. It's pretty inspirational, especially if you're into that type of filmmaking and such. Another one I don't know. I might have mentioned this once before. This is the Big Bad Book of Bill Murray, a critical appreciation of the world's finest actor, Bill Murray. And I bought this at the bookstore a couple years ago. And this pretty much chronicles all of his films, tells some stories about behind the scenes, tales from Murrayland, the time he came up with $1 million invention. It's got to it. I don't want to say I've not really read it all per se because I don't want it to bend the pages. As you can see, the pages really haven't been bent at all. There's no creases in the book. Very pristine, in good shape. That's a cool one. And another one is by a filmmaker, David Lynch, Room to Dream. This is a thick one, as you can see. But this is a good book. I read it a couple years ago, and occasionally I'll go back and look for a few tidbits now and again for inspiration. Rest in peace, David Lynch. He passed away a year ago next month in January. Christmas is upon us in just a couple days. Hope everyone is gearing up to have a good Christmas. I'm looking forward to it. I didn't really buy all that much as far as gifts go. Just a few select gifts. Got just a small tree up and a few decorations up and things like that. But I do hope that everyone's able to get with their family and loved ones and have a joyous time. Um, I think Terry and I are going to be doing a show tomorrow night. Salty tonight. I think we're going 11 p.m. on the east, 8 p.m. on the west. And then we will have the Other People show on Friday on 92.5 WLSD The Vault, WLSDradio.com, where we will be talking about Gremlins. And that might be the last show of the year as far as broadcasting on radio goes. So please go to all of the social media. That is the Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Uh, I think that's it. The Other People's Show, YouTube. Did I say that? So thank you all for tuning in. Please check out some of these movies. I think you all might like them. At least give them a try. So hope you all have a good night. Talk to you later.